Today, everyone received huge compensations. We received a new legendary, Charlash, and a new epic, Isitarian. So in this video I'm going to do some tests and some comparisons between these summoner heroes and another heroes. Hello guys, Wilsonbox here. Today we received this huge compensation and in this video I'm testing everything. So I did some tests. I tested them on the battling ground, this one, drilling ground. I tested them on Vortex and in another content. So I just did some comparisons between wild and summoners and see how both perform. So guys, here we have the character we just received, Charlash. So I'm going to use exactly the same gear on this single target dummy. And to compare just the damage between him and Felicity, I'm going to compare summons with wild, which I think it's a fair comparison, and see how much damage he can do in a solo target to this one, just to see how much is different the damage between him and Felicity. Of course, I must say this, he does AoE damage, Felicity doesn't do any AoE damage, so of course if I was using 3 or 5 minions, Charlash will be doing much more damage. So guys, this is just a simple battle to compare the damage between Felicity and Charlash. As you guys can see, there's a disadvantage for Charlash because on Felicity I'm using her aura, which is crit damage percentage more 30%, so of course she's going to do more damage. Charlash did around 148,000 and Felicity did around 192,000, so of course Felicity did more damage, but this was just a quick one. Let's go to the real tests. So guys, this was the first fight I did, and this is all pre-recorded. So the first one I did with Charlash, everyone has the same gear. So this one I used Xandra as a healer. She's a really strong healer, so I used her for some of these tests. As you guys can see, he's doing well, but eventually his summon is going to die from the damage from Vortex. So with that, it means the damage will be lower from Charlash because he doesn't have his summon, and the summoners are really dependent on this for the damage, to increase their damage. So as you guys can see, until he casts his ultimate again, he doesn't have a summon, so it means he's not going to do so much damage. So let's speed this up and see how much damage he did. I'll stop the fight as soon as summon dies, because I think that's what makes sense. As you guys can see, Xandra, it's really low, shield herself now, and is going to die now. So as you guys can see, we have 1,100,000. That was how much I did with Charlash. So then I did exactly the same thing. I used the same gear, but for Felicity, exactly the same gear. As you guys can see, I was just showing there's no gear on Charlash. So this was exactly the same fight, and I mean this is much easier for the healer to manage all the fight because her battle skill can heal one single hero, and with this she's going to use this always on Felicity or on her, so which means they will be much healthier, and that means they are going to do much more damage. For all of these fights I use the Enlightenment aura, so there's no more HP from Charlash or more crit damage from Felicity. It's just Enlightenment, so I'm not benefiting anyone. I'm not giving more damage to anyone. So as you guys can see, the fight goes on, and he did 1,100,000. So as you guys can see, she is already going to do more than that. So they are both healthy. Let's jump this. So here already 1,200,000, and I think this is much because it's easier for Xandra to heal both of them. So eventually both died, and they did together almost 1,300,000. So this was the first test, the first real test. The second one that I'm going to show you is with a full team of summoners and a full team of wild heroes. So on this first fight I was testing the Vortex and I used exactly the same gear, so I was just using three sets, the same sets I used on the wild heroes I used on Vortex, on the summoner heroes as well, so it's exactly the same sets. I didn't use any artifacts on them or any runes, to keep it the most fair as possible. So, as you guys can see, this is just a normal fight. I used Xandra for the healing. She's taking the damage from the boss, this skill. And I mean, this is it. This was the fight. And I think it's much easier for Xandra to heal all the heroes because there's no summoners, there's no summons. So every time one of the allies is low HP, she's going to use the battle skill to heal one of the heroes, like she just did on Erich. And on summoners, what happens is that when a summon is with low HP, she's going to waste the battle skill on that summon. Sometimes it's just a skeleton that is not doing that much damage, and she's going to use a battle skill, a healing battle skill on a summon that we don't really need and is not that important. So I'm just gonna fast forward this, just gonna check it's more ahead. So Erich was already dead after a while on the fight, 17 minutes. Eventually Tonalman died as well. Felicity was the only one alive. And of course will be easier for Xandra to manage 3 characters because she has a battle skill. And soon she's going to die. It's not this one yet. So 2 minutes, she's going to die here. Yeah, so she died. And as you guys can see, the tank and the healer were still really healthy, and if I let them, they will do more damage. So at this time I did 3,550,000. So let's check how much summoners did. So guys, here we have our summoner team. So I used the 2 of the characters they just gave, and another one, Irzilis, is really good and boosts all the damage from the summons, which is really good. So from the wild team we have Enrich, free character, we have Tonalan, epic, and we have one more, the Felicity that you can get from the Horn and Starlight Dices, so there's a big chance that you can get her. And as you guys can see here, she just healed the summon, the golem, and she will keep doing this, so will be much harder. You will give a much harder job to the healer to keep healing everyone. Again, she just used his battle skill on a skeleton, which I don't think it's worth it. And with this, Isitarian died on the first minute. If there was no summons here, probably he will be still alive because she will give him the battle skill to keep him healthy. So with this is one of the big problems with summoners, because the healers will keep using the battle skills on the summoners. The healers don't know which is a hero and which is a summon, so they were just gonna heal the Holly with the lowest HP, and this means can be a skeleton, can be a golem, this dragon, anything. But the thing about them, the good thing about them is that they do a really good amount of damage, and there are some strategies that will improve their damage. But my argument with them is that they require too much stuff to work well. So one of the first things is they require a good healer, a healer that heals over all the battlefield, because if you are using a healer with just a small range of healing, will be really bad for them to heal. So as you guys can see, Charlotte is already dead. We just have his healers at the moment, but the golem is still alive, the dragon is still alive, and that probably means the healer is healing the wrong ones. He's healing the summons and not with the battle skill and not the heroes. And eventually I'm gonna jump this now forward, because eventually they're gonna do the same damage. But remember, with the other teams, the healer and the tank were full HP when I finished the battle, and that will be the big difference. As you guys can see, on this fight, the healer will die, the tank will die, everyone will die, and I'll do a little bit more damage, 3,500,000. The other team, I did almost the same thing, but remember that the tank and the healer were full HP, so if I let them, they will eventually do more damage than these guys. But was not bad, but was a good comparison between damage. Next test I did was with Xandra, so she has a small range of heal, comparing with Xandra or another legendary healer. So on this fight will be easier for her, because she can heal everyone, those 5 heroes, so I'm just gonna speed this up because, I mean, she will be alright. As you guys can see, she can heal them easily. They will be always on the same place, so she can target them easily. She will give the battle skill to each hero, so will be fine for her. So let's go forward. Eventually two of them die. It's just her and Felicity on the tank now, and she will keep alright. So still 8 minutes, still alive. Eventually they are die. Xandra is alive, so 1,700,000. That's how much I did with these guys, and Xandra was still alive. So this was one of fight. Let's check the summoners. Now it's the summoners fight. So same gear, same stuff on these ones, and you guys gonna see the difference with the healing. So it's the same thing with Xandra, but this time with Xandra, she heals in a small range. For now it's fine, but now they just summoned a lot of summons. She can heal everyone at this time because the area of the healing will not cover everyone, and her battle skill will be healing. She just healed the dragon, and as you guys can see, this is just a big mess because sometimes she will not be able to heal everyone. And on this one, you guys gonna see the difference of damage will be a bit different from the other fight with Xandra. So Isitarian just dead, Ashtarian is also dead, and she will still be able to heal them, but now it's just Isitarian and some more summons, and the same problem will keep happening over and over again, which is the battle skill. The battle skill will keep going to summons, and we don't need that on the summons, we need that on our heroes because it's the most important. At this moment just Isitarian and Xandra. Eventually is going to kill both because now there's no tank. Is going to target Xandra or Isitarian and they're gonna die. So will be now. So they did 1000, he's dead now, so 1000, 1200 almost. We did more 500,000 damage with the wild team because they were able to survive much more and much easier to that team to survive. So next and final test, I'm gonna do some content with these characters and with Xandra just to show you my point. So if you on these characters, we have 5 characters, so it's really easy to place them and keep them healthy. So I placed them correctly, so with this way you guys can see I can heal everyone with Xandra and will be much easier. And then I will have another point comparing any character and the summoners. So as you can see, I can heal everyone with Xandra on this fight. This guy is really strong, so this is just the stage 1. And you guys gonna see, so it's working well. When he summons, let's skip this, so when he summons this guy that we need to kill, I can easily use my heroes and target that one for them to kill it. So I'm gonna use, he's going to kill them because he does AoE anyway. So this works pretty well with these heroes. So let's check now with the summons. So I use the summon heroes, same team, same thing, but now we have that dragon. At this moment it's alright because the dragon is well positioned, so we can still heal everyone. But now the golem is behind them, so again this will be the same problem. The battle skill from Xandra will go to a summon, it just went to that golem, and now he's going to target, he's going to summon the other guy, and now as you guys can see I can't heal everyone anymore because I can target the golem. So that's fine, he's still gonna survive. We did the heal, but now he's going to summon these things, and now it's another problem. Is that with these characters, they just controlling the summon. So for Charlotte, for example, I can target that one because he only does damage with his summon. So if its summon is there, I can target that enemy, that monster. So same thing with this guy. Luckily he's on that side. If the target was the other one, he will not be able to target him. And then Isitarian is fine, he can do damage with his ultimate on the target. But now we'll keep the same problem. Since I'm using the battle skill on summons, it's harder to keep everyone healthy. So as you guys just watched, Isitarian died because he was not getting enough healing. And with the wild team was much easier because the battle skill goes to the right heroes and not to the summons. So guys, I did a list. So my argument about summoners and Charlash and every summoner is that they require too much stuff. So I did a word with some of my arguments. So my opinion is that they require too much. So they require a good healer, a legendary tier healer, because most of them they do a heal over battlefield and not just a small area. So again, more allies means increased chance that healers miss their healing on heroes because they will focus on the summons. So as you guys just watch on these videos, they will use the battle skills on the summons and sometimes and not on the heroes, and the heroes are the most important thing over the fights. Then the summons have lower stats, so this means eventually they will die faster and this will lead to less damage. Then the area of the healing will be messed because it's not a healing over all the areas. So as you guys just watched, the golem was behind the boss and that way was out of range of the target of my healer. And I think they are harder to push content, especially at the beginning when you want to use specific heroes. I think summoners make the job really hard. So these are my cons and pros. So my pros is just a single one. They do a really good damage. Especially if you are using the best summoners. Let's just have a look at them because there are some good things you can do with summoners. So let's just set here summons and see. So level 1 is a really good one because their ultimate works killing the summons. So if they are dead, we don't have to worry about them, right? So she increased the damage with summons. So she's a really good one to use with summoners. And then Premta, again, I use her a lot and I think she's good because you can target her summons, so her damage will be always the same and will not decrease regarding his summons. The other guys, it's just the same, it's just what I showed you guys, but level 1 can increase a lot your summoner's damage. So going back to my word, the cons are a lot. So they require a legendary tier healer, because most of them they heal all over the battlefield and not just a small area. They require good legendary summoners. So as you guys watched, I was using 2 legendary summoners and 1 epic and Isitarian. And as you guys watched, he does a lot of damage, but he dies really early on the boss and on any other content. So that's not a good thing. They will be harder for some content, like just the endgame boss we had on season 3. If there's more characters on the map, they will spread more damage. It will be harder for the healers to heal, so it's just a lot of problems. On the Grave of Curse, for example, if there's more characters, the boss will do more damage. If he does more damage, the shielder will be bigger, so it means we will need someone to break that shield, or you need more DPS, which not what we want. And another thing is, if you have more characters, it's harder to predict the result and do micro changes. And when I talk about micro changes, I talk specifically about Fame, because on Fame there are some stages you really need to play with the RNG factor if you don't have the right legendaries or the right heroes. So if you have summons, it's even harder to predict these things and to play with the RNG. So I think these characters are really hard, especially for free-to players, because they have less legendaries, and with this they maybe will not have the best healers to help with these guys. And again, if you want to have 5 of the same element, will be really hard, because for example on Necrotic we just saved the Thorin, and the next season we'll have another guy, which will be good, but still will be harder to have the good healer, a healer that heals all over the battlefield to help and boost the damage of these guys. And finally, my final argument is that they are hard to manual target enemies. So as you just saw guys, if I want to target that specific character, not on just that content, but all over other contents like Fame or Pallor of Trial, will be harder to target that character that you really want dead, because their damage comes from the summon, and the summon has that area of rage around him. So will be much harder. So in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, doesn't mean I'm right, it's up to you guys what you want to follow, but in my opinion, summoners in general, I don't think they are worth it. especially if you are a free-to player and you don't have much resources or much healers, because you need to invest on them and they require a much stuff than other teams. Like wild teams, you just need 3 wild heroes, they're gonna do their damage. If you have a healer, heals over the battlefield or not, will be easier to place them and use the right strategy to make them work. So this is my review about these new free heroes that we just got. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me in your comments what you think about these heroes and what is your opinion. And once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave that lovely like and subscribe to my channel if you are not a subscriber. Thank you once again and see you next time.